Each year, Marquette travels to the most prestigious and sought-after college basketball tournaments over Thanksgiving break. It signals that the college basketball season is getting real and that the holiday season is just around the corner. And who better to get you in the mood for both of those things than one of college basketball's most recognizable faces? We're in Kansas City for the CBE Classic. This is the most wonderful time of the year.
Hey, this is Marquette University basketball, baby.
Welcome into this Tourney Edition of Marquette Basketball Weekly. I'm Brad Galli from Kansas City. Coming up, we're going to take a look at the recent rivalry between Marquette and Duke in Thanksgiving tournaments. Plus, Todd Warner will examine the unique relationship between Duke freshman Kyrie Irving and Marquette freshman Vander. But first, former coach and current ESPN analyst Dick Vitale rejoins us to talk Buzz Williams, the Golden Eagles, and revisit some fond memories of his good friend, Al McGuire. Coach, I know how you always talk about character coaches. A person like Mike Krzyzewski, Buzz Williams, from studying him, being around him, seems to be that type of guy. What have you seen from him in his first 3 years as a head coach?
Well, you know, I think the one thing you see is tremendous energy, tremendous enthusiasm, and a guy that can make adjustments. When he had the big three, when he had James and Matthews and the other big McNeil, they were able to run up and down the floor. Last year with a cast, had a player of different tempo. Now he's back to having personnel and play at a faster pace. So he's able to adjust. I think that he's done a solid job since he's been there in the big. When you think about the Big East and what they're faced with, I mean, that is a real tough challenge. And he's done a heck of a job.
It's a tough comparison to make between him and Al McGuire, but I know Al McGuire is someone you respected so much, coached against, beat the year that they won that championship. What was your relationship with him like?
Oh, I loved Al McGuire. I mean, how could you not like Al McGuire? I told somebody the other day, what our game is missing, characters and coaching. We don't have any more the Al McGuires, the Jimmy Valvanos, the guys like Luke Hornacek, and all those special guys who had great personality.
Perhaps yourself?
Well, John Thompson walking out was unbelievable. It's kind of you. But I will tell you this, Al McGuire was as good as it gets. He was sharper than he gave himself credit for. Always made believe. He'd say, hey, Dixie, I don't know the game. I don't worry about practice. Don't believe it. That guy was so sharp. He knew how to communicate. He knew how to recruit. I'll never forget, I'll give you a quick story. I recruited a kid, and I was a nervous wreck because the kid committed to me verbally. And then all of a sudden, the father called up, and he said, we're going to sign, but we just want to talk to Mr. McGuire. I said, oh, to my assistant coaches, we are in trouble. We went around the block where the kid lived. We kept driving the car, and Al's rental car was parked out front. Finally, he comes walking out. He spots us, and he always called me Dixie. Dixie, you won this battle. You got him, but you know what, Dixie? I'm going to get somebody better tomorrow. And sure enough, you know who he signed the next day?
Who was it?
Butch Lee became National Player of the Year.
A legend. Coach, he's such a standard and such a legacy he's left at Marquette. A lot of people that are Marquette fans expect so much from this program. What do you see this team being capable of this season? I know it's early, but what have you seen so far?
Well, you know, it's early right now. I think a good barometer is going to be right here. We're going to get a real good test right out here in Kansas City because they're going to play quality competition for 2 days. And I think after that, you can sit down and get a true evaluation. Looking at their personnel, looking at the Big East, I would say you're looking right now anywhere from 4, 5, and 6 in that conference.
Coach, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thanks a lot.
Dick Vitale always talks about diaper dandies, and there's one on Marquette's roster, freshman Vander. He had the experience of a lifetime this summer playing on Team USA's under-18 team. With 15 players on the roster, he knew that everyone could put the ball in the basket, but he took the unconventional route towards getting playing time.
I mean, everybody can score, so I wanted to separate myself from everybody, and I want to show people that I can play defense. I can put the ball in the basket. That's the last thing I'm worrying about. To win games, defense wins championships, offense sells tickets. So if you can play defense, you'll always be on the floor. It gets you better, compete every day, and just to have the chance to put USA on my chest and actually get a chance to go out there and fight while the crowd's chanting USA is just a blessing and a gift, and I'm really happy that I got the chance to do that. I feel that it's really helped me develop into college, and without that, I don't think I'd be as prepared as I am now for college basketball.
One of those players he grew close with, another top high school recruit, Kyrie Irving. They became good friends on the USA team, and we're counting down the days to the matchup in the CBE Classic.
We actually Skype quite often, and we just talk about the game. Like, we both got the same goal. We just want to be successful and have a lot of fun. We know once we step on the floor, there's no friendship. We're just going to play hard against each other, and we both wish both our teams luck. And after the game, I'm pretty sure I'll call them. We'll talk about the game, and we're real close friends.
Both Kyrie and Vander got the start for their respective teams, which is quite an accomplishment for two freshmen. After playing with each other on Team USA over the summer, they went against each other in the CBE Classic. After Duke's win, it's Kyrie 1, Vander nothing. Now here's Brad Galli with more on the Thanksgiving tournament rivalry with Duke and Marquette.
Against Duke, Marquette's all-time record is 2-6, but the Golden Eagles' last victory was a memorable one. MU captured a 73-62 win over the Blue Devils to win the 2006 CBE Classic. The win was a game of noteworthy classics that the Journal-Sentinel's Todd Rosiak remembers well.
I think the thing that stands out to me most was just the caliber of coaches that they faced, that Tom Crean faced at that point. I mean, you're talking about two guys who are in the Hall of Fame already, Bob Knight and Mike Krzyzewski, the mentor and the pupil, so to speak. And to be able, for Crean on a personal level, to be able to say, well, I beat those guys in back-to-back nights, I'm sure was huge. And I think for the group that was here at the time, Dominique James, Jarrell McNeil, Wesley Matthews, etc., I think it really, kind of set the tone for them moving forward. They had beaten some big teams and won some big games their freshman year. Obviously, that UConn game and the first Big East debut was a big one too. But be able to beat a named team, so to speak, like Duke here, again, I think kind of put them on that national pedestal or that platform, and they went on and had to have another really outstanding year that year.
In the latest installment, Coach Krzyzewski met Buzz Williams on the court for the very first time. And although Coach K's team came out on top, he had plenty of credit to give to Buzz Williams and the program that he runs at Marquette.
A team like Marquette, they have not only lost, but they got a great tradition, and they have a unique style of play. I mean, they really play hard, and they can put four guards on the court. So they spread you, and difficult team to play against.
I knew they were all good players. I just think that their style of play, there is some carryover from last year, but I think that the complexion of how they play is somewhat different. It's hard to, I don't know that you can pick a poison, because everyone is poisonous.
Last week, Williams said that there's never a good time to play Duke, but ask anyone in this program and they'll tell you the only way for Marquette to nationally be recognized on a consistent basis is to compete with the best. And playing against Duke, as much as these Golden Eagles have in recent years, accomplishes just that.
You want to get out there and play the best to measure yourself. To be the best, you got to play the best. And I think it's just great for our alums, Kansas City, all over the country, see us on national television against, as Buzz just said in the press conference, teams that are going to be playing late into March.
What does playing Duke and playing Duke so hard on a consistent basis mean to this Marquette program over the past few years?
I don't know that it necessarily, means a lot to the players in terms of they ever had doubts in themselves that they belong at that level. But I guess maybe it answers some of the naysayers and shows some of the people around the country that might doubt why Marquette is playing Duke in Kansas City. Or any other venue for that matter. Where's Marquette from? What conference are they in? Can they hang? I think Marquette has proven, not only in Kansas City, but in the previous meetings that they've had over the last few years that, I think they definitely do belong in that same vein. I'm not saying Marquette obviously is maybe a national championship contender yet, but, in time that's possible.
As Marquette continues to take strides towards that championship direction, Buzz Williams noted after the loss to Gonzaga, the only way to take that next step is to win. For a look at Marquette's chances at winning this season, Todd Warner joined now by one of the sport's best insiders.
Here with one of college basketball's best experts, Jeff Goodman of FoxSports.com. Now, Jeff, seeing the Golden Eagles play Duke and Gonzaga in the CBE Classic, what are your thoughts about the team after the tournament?
I mean, I think, again, there's still a team that's going to contend for an NCAA tournament berth. You know, they've got that toughness that we've seen out of Buzz Williams' teams over the last couple of years, and you know, they're still probably a player away, certainly a big guy away, and you've seen some progress. Certainly Otule played well, and Gardner had his moments, but I still think they're that one big guy away from being able to take that next step.
And that one player that played really well, Jimmy Butler, what do you see out of him as a senior leader in this team, playing really well against tougher opponents?
He's gotten so much better. I honestly thought he'd be a role guy, and he's turned into more than that. It would be great if he could have kind of a sidekick right now, and right now, obviously, you know, DJO has not played as well in these 2 games as you guys would have liked, and not shot the ball as well as he would like. I think he's got to stop settling for that 3. He's fallen in love with it a little too much, be more assertive, attack the basket, but Butler played as well as probably anybody we've seen in these 2 days here.
And he's really shown the newcomers how to play and play in big-time games. Which newcomer do you think has played really well so far for the Golden Eagles?
Well, Gardner looked good in the first game, and then obviously he only played about 7 or 8 minutes here tonight. You know, I think they've all kind of shown their you know, flashes. None of them have been overly impressive. You know, Vander, it's going to take some time. You know, here's a kid that can defend. He's big. He's strong. The offense is going to take some time to come to him. But I think they've all, you know, made their imprint a little bit. They're all going to get better as the year goes along, but certainly the nucleus of this team. And I think a key is going to be what Buzz does at the point. You know, I think Dwight Bikes is much more effective coming off the bench as a scorer, and you go with Junior Cadogan at the point. He knows how to play. He makes life easier for his teammates, which I don't think Dwight Bikes does.
Now, there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle that Buzz can put. Do you put the Golden Eagles higher in the Big East, lower, or right at the same mark as you had them in your preseason?
Probably a spot lower after watching UConn beat Michigan State. But I still think they're somewhere in that top 8. I don't know where it'll be, and I think the Big East will probably get 7 teams at the end of the day. I think that's a safe assumption. You know, they're probably what I expected. Again, it just depends on the maturity of these newcomers, how they develop to whether they can take that next step and really solidify themselves as an NCAA tournament team. If not, I think they're going to be sweating it out on Selection Sunday.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Really appreciate it.
You got it.
Check out Jeff Goodman on foxsports.com in the college basketball section.
Despite losing both of their games in Kansas City, the Golden Eagles can only build upon their experiences here in one of college basketball's most premier events. After the Gonzaga loss, Buzz Williams said he's tired of getting patted on the back for competing with good teams. But the truth of the matter is, when Big East play starts in late December, his young team will point back to these 2 days as the reason they can go toe-to-toe with some of the nation's best teams. That's going to do it for this week's edition of Marquette Basketball Weekly. For Todd Warner, I'm Brad Galli. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. In 3-2. Last week, Williams said that there's never a good time to play Duke, but you ask anyone in this Marquette program.
Brad,